This is what being a fly girl truly means to me. Now, when I was growing up and I was younger, all of my older sister cuz and brother cuz and their boyfriends and girlfriends and all of them, I would watch them. And they would, have on all the latest fits, the labels and all of that. And they were determined to be fly. However, after growing up, I realized that being a fly girl is more than just about the window dressing of it all. Being a fly girl is actually a spiritual state of being. It has nothing to do with anything external. It is simply your internal light being reflected outwardly. So I will give you an example of how I arise to this conclusion. I know some of you remember the show Fashion Police. Okay. And it was a segment, Who Wore It Best, I think it was called. And they would have two people who showed up at a certain event. And they both had on the same outfit. But one would look better in it than the other. And I had to think, sometimes it plays a part of how you put things together. But really what it is how the person felt in that garment. And when the camera was focused on them, and the camera was able to capture that person's inner light. Being fly has nothing to do with anything external. It is a spiritual state of being. External things don't play a part in a person being fly, as far as I'm concerned. Fly is spiritual. It doesn't matter how well your makeup's done. It doesn't matter how many labels you have on. It doesn't matter how much money you have in the bank, where you live, what you drive, who you dating or married to, what your economic status is, or your racial origin is. Those are all external labels that we have subscribed to in order to make us feel like certain things gives us status. You should already feel worthy when you're naked in the mirror in the dark. That is truly who you are. And that's how you decide what your worthiness is. So in that moment, if you feel fly, I don't care if you have on a simple t-shirt, no makeup, some athletic shorts, and some sneakers. You still are going to be perceived as fly because it's coming from your spirit. An external thing can't do that for you. Your unique stilo is fly. That is the true nature of how you express yourself, how you carry yourself, how you walk, how you talk, how you just sit down and cross your legs, how you eat, how you write. That your stilo, your uniqueness, that is fly. That is what distinguishes you from other people. Everybody should want to rely on their uniqueness. I have a lot of set of twins in my family. And in talking to any of them, the one thing that they hated when they were younger is that their parents dressed them alike. Because they looked alike, they thought that it was cute. And it probably was. But as they started to come into their own individual selves, they realized just because I look like my sibling doesn't mean I want to be like my sibling. Doesn't mean I want to talk like my sibling. We don't have the same interests. We don't share the same hobbies. We don't have the same style. So a lot of them yearn to try to be so different from the other just to stand out and be seen as an individual and not clumped together. This is a good practice for you, especially as women. We're not all supposed to look alike. We're not all supposed to wear the same thing. We're not all supposed to dress alike. Now, sure, you may run into people who have the same pair of shoes as you have, the same dress. Okay, but we're talking about intentionally having the groupthink mindset that you have to be like somebody else in order to be considered fly. That is not true. I love, certain fashion creators. I love certain fashion influencers here on YouTube. I watch a lot of them. However, I hear a lot of them say that people are in the comments asking them, can you wear this? If you wear this, would you be considered fly? Being fly is not about what you wear. There are a lot of people out here who have many labels that I don't consider fly because it doesn't really seem like it comes from their spirit. It seems like window dressing. But when you truly have somebody who has their own unique, individualized style, that's somebody who is living from their blueprint, who is living internally, who is in touch with the light within themselves. To me, that is what being a fly girl is. Fly is as fly does. If you feel good about yourself and you are living from your own spirit, you are making decisions based on your own thoughts, you are being true to yourself, you are just being. You don't feel like you have to do anything. You don't feel like you have to run marketing campaigns on yourself. You don't have to constantly express where you've been, how much you paid for something, all of that. To me, that's not fly. To me, a woman who is confident in herself and what she wears, whether nobody else likes it, she loves it. And when she walks outside and walks down the street with pride, you can see that she feels good in what she is wearing. You can see that she feels good and has pride about herself and her appearance. To me, that's fly. That is why I call my brand Flygirl Glitter. It is the spirit reflecting light. Flygirl the spirit, glitter reflects light. Flygirl Glitter. Being fly is a state of being. You don't need to be like you don't need to live in parentheses, period. You can just be free to be you. A lot of us, get caught up into trying to be like everybody else because being original is scary. And being original seems to be extinct. They need to put it on the National Geographic list. Deem originality as being in danger, because it is. Because everybody wants to be like everybody else. Everybody wants to look like everybody else. Everybody wants to wear their makeup like everybody else. There is nothing wrong with being yourself. And if you decide that it looks good, you need to stamp that thing and live it. Be an original individual, the same way that you were created to be. To me, that is the definition of a fly girl. It has nothing to do with labels. It has nothing to do with, how much you paid for something, where something came from. If you are fly on the inside, you can wear a $5 tee from the corner store and still feel the same way you would if you had a $500 tee. Being fly is a state of being. That is all I'm saying. Stay lit.